got Jack Daniels on the cam. That's good enough for me.
Johnny boy, it's the Groove Junction. Welcome back for another edition. It's another week, and here we are in the Groove Junction.
Yeah, the Groove Junction. I love the Groove Junction. Do you think that the week has flown by?
Every week for me flies by, but I think that's an age. I think that's an age thing, John. To be honest,
I'm thinking, right. I'm thinking before we get into the Groove Junction. I'm thinking, right. Can you drop my wife a little call, a message, or something like? Can you? And just
whoa! Oh, rewind.
No, because
can I give your wife a call?
Yeah, give her a call.
I need to make a note of this, people.
Yeah, give her a little nudge, right? Give her a little pointer on how to welcome me. All right.
You want me to nudge?
I want the energy that you give me on a Monday. From my wife, I want to be able to walk through the door. I don't want to get out. That's 5 minutes. I'm so excited to see her. I don't get that.
Okay, you've just perforated everybody's eardrums that's listening across listening land of podcast land.
I wanted everyone to know. This is yours.
I mean, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get the edit that low in relation to the volume. You went that high. You went global, but that's another story. Listen, listen. I'm more than happy to give your wife a nudge. Anyway, moving into today's episode. Not that nudge. Moving into today's episode. Here we are, another Groove Junction, another week. Loads planned. We've got a great interview for everyone today.
Look forward to that.
Yeah, I'm not going to give anything away because I normally do a little giveaway, but I'm not going to give anything away in relation to the interview that's coming up. Just stay tuned and listen to it. But before we get into that, as always, John, how was your week?
Really good. It was quite a chilled one, really. I had 2 parties, one on Saturday and one on Sunday. I had Friday night off, which is rare. So that was quite nice having Friday off. But Saturday I did a 16th birthday. And it was for a friend. It was for his daughter's 16th birthday. And nice little venue. I actually took out my brand new selfie pod for the first time.
The selfie pod made a first outing. And how was that?
You know what? It looked good. I think it looked good. And it was very popular. It was busy all night. There was busy all night. Now, there's only about 40 or 50 guests there. But they racked up just short of 200 pictures. So, wow. Yeah, it was really good. All the props there.
Tap.
Yeah, mate, honestly, it was really good. Well, I don't do printing with my selfie pod.
And why would you in this technical age that we live in?
Thinking of the environment. You know,
I'm pleased.
They literally went up, took their picture, used the props, took their pictures, and they scanned the QR code or sent a text message to themselves, pushed it, stuff. Really good. Yeah, so really good. Really happy with that. And then Sunday, I did another children's birthday for Izzy, who's a massive Taylor Swift fan. Massive. I think at 2-hour party, I probably did about an hour's worth of just Taylor Swift. But it was good fun. Lots of singing, dancing. Good fun. Yeah, nice. Right. And then back to work today, which was a bit of an anticlimax, really.
Back to work.
Well, till the afternoon, but I'll tell you about the afternoon in a minute.
Back to work, and then you're asking me to nudge your wife. Anyway, like I said, for me, it was quite a quiet week, John, to be honest. And do you know what? Like I said last week, really looking forward to it. And I really was. My son, who's 17, came over with his girlfriend. So that was nice. So we did quite a bit of family stuff this weekend, which is really good. And it's, once again, it's just, actually, it just reinforces, you do need, I feel I've said actually quite a lot, but it reinforces the fact that you need to have a bit of that family time to break up what we do, because we do work in some very unsociable hours.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is as well, it's all very well going out, earning all the money, doing all the parties, but, why are you going out earning all the money? It's to, to spend time, to buy things for your family. Your family is so important. I mean, you can go out on those days out. So, we're going to pop to the zoo. We're going to pop here, or you know what? I don't cook tonight. Let's go out for dinner. and that's why we do it. But I think, you know, it's important to remember your family, because they're the ones that they're in the background. They're the ones supporting you.
Just checking either side of your camera that your wife's not there holding a gun to your head because you've said that.
Yeah, no, I'm quite safe in that one at the moment. Yeah.
Good. What you got coming up, man?
What we got? Oh, so this week I've got a 50th wedding anniversary, and then I've got a 40th birthday on Saturday. So Friday and Saturday I'm out. So yeah, so it's quite a nice little chilled one this week. Only a couple of parties, which is nice. So yeah, I'll get all the lights out and everything. Yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. And where I've got like a 50th wedding anniversary, very much 60s and 70s music.
Oh, nice.
And then on the Saturday, it's a 40th, so it's very much 90s, 90s, 10s. So it's a bit of a.
You've got a range. You got a range.
I've got a nice range.
A big range, actually, quite a big range. To be fair,
literally, I'm going to go literally through all of the decades from the 60s all the way through. So I'm looking forward to that.
Talking about very briefly, talk about music before we get our guest on, and we're going to be talking music big time with our guest today. But I watched Dan Nicholson, friend of the show, Dan Nicholson, on TikTok last Friday. He was live. And he played some absolute banger early 90s disco funk, like Head Candy, you know, house.
Was that in the morning?
Yeah.
You know what? I missed it. I saw it pop up on my screen.
Yeah.
And I had to go into a meeting, so I missed it. But I know that when I missed, I managed to get 10 minutes of the one last week, I think it was. And you are absolutely right.
So this, like, to the point where actually I was, you know, working away and I had it on, and it's the point I actually connected my entire house through my, I'm not even going to say the word because it might come to life. And it was blasting around the entire house. Dan's set, to the point where I was like, this is like, and I went and found a wallet of CDs that I had, which are all Head Candy CDs. And this is not a plug to Head Candy in any way, shape or form. But literally, I found all of my early Head Candy Disco 1, Disco 2, like all the way through to, because as soon as Head Candy came out, I brought it. I brought the album, double album, CD, boom, and I was away. I loved it because it was all the 12-inch mixes. Yeah, it was an amazing time, those early 90s in that dance period, and I loved Head Candy. And Dan absolutely smashed it. I think he wanted to finish quite early, but I kept him going by going, "Come on, Dan, one more song." But it was a little bit like that. But Dan, if Dan ever does, Dan Nicholson ever pops up and he's doing a live, definitely jump on that and listen to it. It was really, really good.
He's a really nice guy as well. To be fair, really nice guy.
Yeah, great guy. But great live, absolutely brilliant live. Loved every minute of it. Look, as always, I am desperate to get our guest on because this is going to be a good chat. So as always, I'm going to say, see you in part 2, Johnny boy. See you in part 2
after the break.
After the break. So, welcome back to part 2. John, are you excited about what part 2?
Mate, you know what? I'm so made up for this. I'm so looking forward to it. Really.
Okay, I've been wanting this person on the Groove Junction because I really want to understand their perception, the difficulties they've come across, and not really wanting to, you know, allude to who that person is yet. I'm just not going to beat around the bush about it, okay? I'm just going to introduce the person and get them on, and then we can get really into the conversation, into the chat. So without that being said, please let me introduce to you DJ Sophie Lou.
Hey guys, hey. I feel like I want to clap as well.
Yeah, clap and one clap. I'll put some noise effects over the top of it. So thanks for joining. Now, to our listeners or our viewers, whoever watching this, whether you're watching it on YouTube, watching it on Spotify, or actually listening to it on any of the podcast platforms that we're on, Sophielou is a female singer, songwriter, producer, DJ, entrepreneur. I am telling you now, everybody listening, Sophie is pushing boundaries in our business space. And when I said to Jon, look, this is the person I really, really want to get on as early as we possibly can, because one, I want to know a bit more about what Sophie's gone through to get to where she is, how things are going, the direction that she wants to go into. And I'm telling you now, I can't wait to hear it, because I've known Sophie we've connected over the online space in particular and the social media side of stuff. But Sophie as a DJ is epic. She's really, really good. And what she stands for me, I think needs to be said. And we need to say it from the rooftops, if I'm totally honest with you. So with that being said, Soph, thanks for joining. So I really want to. So firstly, Soph, I'm not going to say ask your age, but where you're from in the world, because we have listeners all over the country. So tell us where you're from.
So I'm from Wolverhampton, in the West Midlands. So Wolverhampton isn't Birmingham. It's its own city.
That's Jon's reference. That is.
Everyone's like, oh, Birmingham. It's like Wolverhampton is Wolverhampton. We're very two different places, and I think when you're actually within the scenes, especially the music scenes, you can see and hear the difference, and just culture is different. So yeah, Wolverhampton, West Midlands, UK. So yeah,
and you've always lived in the West Mids?
Always, always been in Wolverhampton, born and bred in Wolves. So yeah.
So what brought you into the music scene? So
I just from a young age, I've always loved music. Music was always on in the house. I grew up living with my mum and my sister. My mum always had music on in the house. My nan and granddad always had music on. When I went to my dad was a drum and bass jungle DJ, so he was just,
wow,
vinyls all over. But when I'd go to my dad's, there's, music has just always been there. I've got a cousin that produces, and it's just, it's always been around. And then I think during school, I then was found out about, because I was very much like, my mum listened to a lot of 70s, but then she liked her garage and pop. But then when I got to secondary school, 2003, I was introduced to R&B and that kind of stuff. I was like, oh, this is nice. And that's where I fell in love with music properly. And I think I always wrote poems, and it just kind of converted into songwriting. I was hearing songs, I was like, oh, but I want these to be a little bit more personal to me. And that's how I got into kind of creating music, and it just literally hasn't stopped from the age of 14. Just 32 now. It's just never stopped. It's just been.
Did you get a lot of support in secondary school? Because that's not music is not one of the things that they sort of say, look, let me try and push it, let me try and push it. It's kind of music in secondary school is they've got nothing to do for that. Yeah. Let's give them a music lesson.
Literally. Music lessons weren't taken seriously, so they were just the DOS lesson for majority of people. You could, if you wanted to play an instrument or something, you were kind of pushed, you'd be in the band and whatever, but I didn't play an instrument. I didn't really have a desire to play an instrument. I wanted to sing. The writing was the main thing for me.
Yeah.
So my music teacher kind of allowed me to have the space to record my first track in the little music booths and whatever. But generally, it was right, no, you need to pick something realistic. You need to kind of go with sport, because I was really good at sport, still am, and that's what I got my A levels in, A star in GCSE. It was go down this route. Music was always kind of it was never going to be a job. It was never going to be a career. It was never going to make me any money. And that was from a lot of people around.
That's the perception.
Yeah. Because I think people are under the impression that I don't know, you've got to be this big, massive superstar and that's what we're all aiming for. And it's actually not. I think if you're passionate about something, you can always make some form of career from it.
That's the thing. I mean, of all the billions of people that live on this planet, everyone has heard music. Even the deaf people, Matt, they've heard music because they listen to it via the vibrations. All right.
Yeah.
Before you start ripping me apart,
I'm not ripping you apart.
Sophie normally rips me apart anything I say. So I've got to get in there quick, you see.
No. I mean, totally, and you can, I totally understand what you're saying. I'm not going to not justify what you've just said. I think the question I'm now going to ask you, Sophie, is in the sense of that transition from being involved with so many different aspects of your family, being so into music, which then got you into it. What was the transition for you to actually go, actually, this is actually really something that I want to do, rather than the school not helping or providing what they, want to? What was the point where you went, actually, this is it for me?
I think it was like, a lot of things in my life have been, I don't know if it's been luck or right time, right place, meeting the right people. I was always under the, I thought that if you didn't go to London, you couldn't record songs. I thought you had to go to London to go
to the capital. That's where it's at. What a load of tosh.
I didn't even know like recording studios existed in Wolverhampton. I had no idea because I'd never even, I mean, the first. It was I met a very, very good friend of mine, basically family now. Don, DJ Apostle, big bassline DJ from the Midlands, engineer. I think he was DJing one night out, and I saw him, and I said, I'm a singer, because he used to put like together like like mixtapes, like bassline compilations, all of that.
Yeah.
I wanted a bassline tune. Kind of glad I didn't have one now, because I would have fell into that. I was just playing as a band.
Pigeonhole.
Yeah.
Sophielou becomes a bassline junkie.
Yeah. And he said, sing then. And I just sung on the spot. And it took a while, but after that, he took me to his home studio, and, and then I was like, studio. Okay. Before I knew it, I was working on my first EP. Then, a year later, it's my first mixtape, and then it's, so I have to thank him a lot, because he he took me into that space that I didn't actually know existed. And guided me in the sense where I was like, you should release an EP. I was like, what's an EP? I didn't know about these things, so when you don't know, you don't know. And so very grateful for him. So it really, from then, it was like, okay, I can actually release music, and it was all on SoundCloud or hard copies, I'd sell them for £5 in town, whatever, like it was. And from then, it just kind of gradually progressed. And then, we got to the digital platforms, and then, it was new world there. But really from that time that I met Dom, DJ Apostle, and he kind of was like, you can put together an EP and release it. And that's how I really started to build a name for myself and show people what I could do. Yeah, so that was, and that would have been around 17, 18 from then. So, yeah.
And that brand that you're creating then, so you've got, what does that brand consist of? Tell everyone that, because it's, I think, for a young woman like yourself, you are really pushing the envelope in relation to our business, whether that is DJing, whether that is producing, whether that, all of that. So for me, what is that drive for you? What is that drive that gets you to where you want to be?
I think, a big drive is being in a space in life where it hasn't been great, not knowing what I want to do, not following my passion, feeling lost in life, and like feeling like I have no purpose. That's a big drive for me, in the sense that now I do feel that. I get up every day, I'm like, I am lucky, grateful to have something that gets me out of bed, and I have that fire inside. And I think a big thing for me is not wanting to go backwards. I've been in some, dark spaces. I'm going to speak about openly. It's in my songs that, I don't ever want to go back there. I always want to keep moving forward, but I also want to be like, I just want to, like you say, I'm a female doing, I have crossed over to DJ now. It's another branch on the tree of Sophielou. And it's like, I just want to like show people that it can be done, like, because I think female, it's harder, but a lot of the time we are kind of not taken as seriously or overlooked. And
that's one thing that I was going to say. You DJ Apostle, he held out his hand to you. Where I am down in this, we've got a big market called North Wheel Market. Yeah. And there's a guy in there, and he sells all mixtapes and all that. Yeah. And if I went up to him and said, "Hey mate, I'm a singer," he'd say, "Yeah, all right, mate, jog up, off you go." Right. But this DJ Apostle is like, he's heard you, and he's like, right, let's go. Let's go. He hasn't dismissed you.
Yeah.
So
I think that's a really good point, and I think we find with our industry that you're looking out for yourself.
Yeah.
And there isn't that whole, let's help each other.
I think everybody needs a hand at some point, just to say,
I totally agree.
Or here's a bit of guidance with no kind of just pure intentions behind it, no gain for themselves, because he's never gained anything from it. But I guess that's down to his character. He's helped a lot of people. There's a lot of people from West Midlands that will be able to say, DJ Apostle helped me. But for him, that will just, because that's out of the kindness of his heart. And he, a lot of us are just here to try and help and build. And, we've done, it's community.
So in all the time that you've been in the industry, and let's talk about the DJing, because you said that you've started that. That's a fairly new avenue you've gone down, because you've been very much around the music, producing music, writing music.
Writing and releasing music's been the last 12 years of my life. Like that was like my sole focus. I've had jobs and stuff, and I've always kind of had jobs and whatever, but that has been my
that was focus. The drive that got you out of bed each day to do that. So now you're adding another bow to your arsenal. That is the DJing. So what have you found has been hurdles for you within the industry, trying to get gigs, trying to get into clubs? Has there been any blockages for you?
I think the first block was myself, because I thought I had really bad imposter syndrome. That's how I felt. So I felt like, because I've been making music and releasing music and writing, I'm going to try and cross over and be a DJ now. I thought, should I be here? Should I be doing this? People have been doing this for years before me. Should I be getting any opportunities? Should people take a chance? And that's how I felt. So
I think it's an easy transfer.
Yeah,
I think you do.
Now I'm doing it. I'm like, okay, why didn't I do this sooner? It actually makes total sense.
Yeah, and I think until you've done it, until you actually go, oh, actually, that makes a lot of sense now. And we had Brad on the show. Brad. We had Brad on the show last week, and he's saying, this day and age, if you're not producing your own music, you're not going to get into the clubs. You're not going to get into that scene.
Well, you got certain avenues.
Exactly that point. So if you're producing your own stuff and writing your own stuff and pushing it out there and getting those gigs, like, you're going to get those over. I.e., me and Jon, the old boys, who just rock up with our USB and we're playing what everyone else is playing. But if you're bringing something different and bringing your stuff to it, that's going to open a few more doors for you, definitely. So what DJing work are you doing in the sense of within Wolverhampton and surrounding areas?
So I started, obviously, like, just private stuff. I think my first took him like a birthday, and I was doing that kind of stuff. And then, but I always knew that I wanted to put on my own nights, my date.
Nice.
I knew.
You're going into an area, so that I was hoping you're going to talk about.
Yeah, I just knew.
I like this for me, and we're going to touch on it now. This is one of the things that I really, really wanted to talk about, because this takes a huge amount of cojones to do what you're doing, and you've set up Real Not Perfect.
Yeah.
So tell everyone what Real Not Perfect is, and why did you choose that name, and why has it moved in the direction you want it to move in? So,
having a brand, a base, was always something that I envisioned. Like Sophielou, that's a brand. That's a business. I am a business, I guess. But I wanted something an umbrella. I wanted to be a branch off that kind of thing. I am my own thing, but and I had a clothing brand 6 years ago, and I didn't do it properly. It was good, and I didn't get the business side of it right, and ended up losing it. It was all a bit of a pickle. So a few years on, I was like, right, I'm ready to go again. So initially, Real Not Perfect was just clothing, but then I realised that it was much bigger than just clothing. As much as I enjoy that, I knew I always wanted to do events, but I wanted to call them parties. Like, because there's a certain vibe to what I want to do, and yeah, I actually went to do my first event in just before lockdown hit. Lockdown hit. I'd sold a few tickets, and then that was it.
Yeah.
It had to be put on hold. So as soon as I was able to do something again, I just started. And for me, Real Not Perfect is it is what it says on the tin. It just, life is real. It's not perfect. We are real. We're not perfect. When we DJ, the amount of mistakes, like people, I make mistakes. I'm still
that Jon
learning.
makes. That Jon makes. Yeah.
You
I made a few.
You make a mistake, or something happens. I was in a club before, and I accidentally turned my decks off mid-set, and it's just like, it's silent, and you're just like, we're human beings, you know what I mean? And I think I've always enjoyed like going out and stuff and going to events, but it was getting a bit like, I feel like everything's a bit pretentious. Everyone's out to see who can
same old.
spend the most money. The DJs are just trying to look really like they're not. I don't know. It's like a battle of who can look the best, who can play the most bangers. It's like, no, like, I want to create a space where we can all just chill, be ourselves. I do games in the middle of, like, we had a brunch on Saturday, and we were doing games in the middle of the event, and it was just the most incredible thing. And that's why I call it a party, because it's like that party feel where you just let your hair down and let go of what you think you've got to be and just be who you are. That's what Real Not Perfect is to me. It's not putting on this, I don't know, it's just being you, and that being okay to be you. So you come as you are, and that's okay. It's a safe space here. I'm not putting like a label on it. It's just you come as you are, and that is fine. You should have a great time, and it's creating that warm, friendly community.
I love it.
Space.
I absolutely love it, and the fact that you've explained it, because I've seen it, and I've seen you trying to advertise it, and you're pushing it, and you're selling tickets for these sessions that you're putting on. And so to hear you say, because I didn't know, like, I've never spoken to you and said, what is Real Not Perfect about? The fact that you have said that actually makes so much sense in this time of day. In relation to what we're doing, because I think we do get so hung up on that transition, like, I'm on an absolute fire, or you've done something.
It's
actually, does it really matter?
Let's just go and have some fun.
Does it honestly? Does it really matter? All right, it might sound good at the end of the day, but honestly, at the end, does it really matter? And I think it's brilliant. Like, I honestly, the fact that you've explained it in that way is just brilliant. So you had was this your first Real Not Perfect?
This was the second official event. So what I've been doing for the last year or so, been putting on free nights, like, just come, no ticket entry, just building up the brand really, and showing people like this is what it is. Like, I didn't want to just come into it and be like, right, £10 a ticket, and then people are like, oh, we're paying for it, we don't know what we're coming to. So I kind of had to like prove myself. I'm new to DJing. I've only been DJing 2 years. Like, that's not long in comparison to, especially in Wolves, we've got a pool of DJs that are just out of this world, and I've watched them and listened to them, and I'm coming into this like, all right, I'm joining you guys now, and I'm like, I've got to prove myself, and that's fine, because I don't.
But you're throwing yourself in it. If you're surrounding yourself with some, like, from your in your area, some really good DJs, you're throwing yourself around those really good DJs. You're like, it's sink or swim. And to be honest, listening to your whole story around that's been you, like, in the sense of it's sink or swim time. Like, I'm going to move on to the next thing, and however it's coming at me, I'm going to persevere. I'm going to move on to the next bit, and and this is what you're doing now with DJing. And you're quite, you've come out and said, I've only been DJing a couple of years. But your music knowledge. And like I said, and anyone that wants to go and listen to Sophie Lou's back catalogue, just go Sophie Lou, all one word together, in Spotify, and literally listen to some of the stuff. And you go back to 2011. Any earlier than that?
Literally, 2011.
2011, all the way through. And like, there is some unbelievable good tracks on there.
Thank you.
Like, there's some nice chilled ones. There's some really good. It's R&B.
It's like,
I want to say, like, this R&B Rihanna / there is that sort of vibe to that from that period of time, and I just go, this is brilliant.
Yeah,
it's absolutely good.
And if you actually listen, I am just like, you are just going through a journey of my life. It's like been my journal basically. I'm just telling you about my life and my goings on, and hope that it's been my outlet, but my release. But hopefully people relate or can just enjoy it. But I always tell people like to go and listen to my tracks, because then you'll know me a lot more. Because I'm very open. I say that it is. I don't hide anything about myself. I am who I am. My journey is my journey, and without it, I wouldn't be who I am or where I am today. So
exactly.
Yeah, but it's kind of like my journal. So like, just
it's a great attitude. So it's a great attitude to have, and seeing that and listening to you today, it's uplifting. It really is. In relation,
it's a refreshing change, isn't it? To
100%,
hear a
John.
story like that. Because we don't hear stories like this. Well, we hear. I've been DJing 15 years. Okay.
Brilliant.
And you don't hear how they got into the DJ. You don't hear the stories. Yeah. Not only have you told us the stories today, but what you're saying as well. If you listen to my song, if you listen to my music that I've done, that is my diary of my life. That is go and have it. Yeah. So I've heard a couple of tracks as well from Spotify.
One of the ones I really like is the Flights and Feelings one. But I love the drum and bass version of it.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's really good.
Collaborating with that's producer Genesis from Wolverhampton. Collaborating with people, and they're like, "Can we have your acapella?" I'm like, "Yeah, go for it. Like, see what else we can," because then that opens it up to another crowd that, okay, they might not like the chilled version, but now they've got a version that they can, and
it's really good.
I can play that myself, and it's.
I love it. So I love it. I love it. I really do, and I just love the approach. I love the freshness of what you're trying to give off. Giving back. Talk to me, because I know I have seen some of the stuff that you've done. So you've been working with communities.
That's always been a thing for me. I think community has always been, maybe subconsciously, something that I've been passionate about, but more now as an adult and actually conscious about it. Like where I grew up, in a 2-bedroom flat on a council estate. Like my primary school was opposite me. The park that we went to every day was all on the same. And I think I don't know, like that beginning just made me a certain way, I guess, and community is just huge to me. So growing up and then becoming an adult, it was like, right, I now can see all these kids that come from the same place as me. Like, what are they doing? What are they looking up to? What guidance have they got? Like, so yeah, like I've always done youth work, and then
you're filling a gap that unfortunately local authorities now can't do.
And I think people in the community, I'm not saying people do it, but I think more, especially more artists, more DJs, more producers, get into youth work, come back and help the kids that need it the most, that might not have access to certain things. Like I work in a school, I work in schools, I do DJ lessons within the community. Like a lot of these parents are like, oh, we didn't know DJ lessons exist, and it's like, well, they don't really rant it, like, or they're really expensive, and it's like, then those kids can't access them. So it's like, it's.
And this goes back to literally what you were saying about secondary school. You didn't have it. If you could read music, and play an instrument, well done, you're in.
And that's where, just in relation to that. So I actually went into my old the secondary school I went to. I went back there last year, and I just quit my job because I wanted, I don't know, I just took a leap. I just wanted to try and see if I could do this myself, this program that I had in mind. I created a program called More to Music, and it was everything that wasn't reading music, writing music, that kind of, that approach, playing an instrument. It was, right, how do we release music? How do we create a track? How do we access recording studios? How do we create a brand? It's everything. Well, what it says, more to music, because there is more to music than theory. I went to uni and studied music, and one of the requirements was to have a certain level in music. And I went to the interview and I said, look, or the audition, I said, I'm going to be straight up right now.
It's not happening.
I don't even know the notes on a keyboard. Like, I don't know theory, but what I can do is write songs, I can make music, and I want to improve on my performance and my branding. Showed them a couple of my tracks, and I said, we're giving you the space right now. And I was like the underdog on my course because all the other people, they knew the new music inside out. I didn't know a lot of things. I was really bad on my theory, all of that kind of stuff. But I had artistry, which was different to, so.
And you had the drive. You've got the drive.
Yeah, different, yeah.
And that's what sold it.
Yeah. So
ultimately, your drive.
Yeah. So in the community, I just try and do what I can and just try and be maybe what I needed. I guess not what I could have done with more at that age. Like if you've got a passion, right? Let's find how we can actually try and make this happen. We're not gonna tell a lie and say. I'm very honest with the kids. I say it's not easy. If you want to try and release music, especially and make money off it, it's difficult. So there's going to be other avenues that you can possibly make money from it. You're not streaming. We know doesn't pay very well. Like it's very difficult. But you could have merch. You could go there's different avenues. And I tell them about all the other jobs within music and just brand new.
And this is another reason why I introduced you as a bit of an entrepreneur because
I guess that's the best way to describe now.
Yeah, I mean you totally are so because you're looking at it from all different aspects.
Yeah.
Me and Jon, and I'm not speaking on Jon's behalf, but we sit in a space of being a DJ. It's a part-time gig for us. It's not a full-time gig. It's like a part-time gig for us. We enjoy doing it. We enjoy the whole social element to what we do because otherwise we wouldn't do it first and foremost.
Absolutely.
But we're going out and doing weddings and parties and birthdays and silent discos and other bits and pieces. But ultimately, that's our lane. Like realistically, that is our lane. Whereas you are like you're like a 4-way, 5-way motorway that's seeing. But it's so refreshing, Sophie, because you're seeing.
Thank you for saying that.
You're seeing so many different. You're seeing so many different ways to channel what you want to do, and it all leads into the same thing. It all leads into the same space.
Yeah. Because sometimes people say, "Oh, do you do all?" And I'm like, well. It's all in the same world. It's not like I'm like making cakes here and then doing that, and it's all in the same world and just driving to the same direction. I guess
the end destination is exactly the same, and it's being successful, happy, and feeling that you've achieved what you set out to, and your journey from when you started telling us about it, you can see that, and that's another reason why I desperately wanted you to come on.
That's the thing, Matt. I can see it going global.
We've got
Thank you.
John's got to saying that everything's global.
Not everything.
Yeah.
Not everything.
Not everything.
That's the plan.
My marriage is not global. That's more like it.
Okay.
But Sophie's journey, right? Let's be honest. Sophie's journey, it's
that's the aim. Like I don't like to say too much of what my plans are because I think there's a danger of that putting it out there. But you never know who's trying to. I mean, but I do hope that I can take this out of Wolverhampton's the base. That's where we start. 'Cause that's home
for sure.
And expand and go and see. I'd love to take a big party abroad or into Europe or
Yeah. So okay. So I look. Normally, come the end of everyone that I say, what's the future? I'm not going to ask you that, but what I'm going to ask you is in the sense of Real Not Perfect is this brand that you're now really promoting.
Yeah.
You established it in 2022. We're 2024 now. And I know it's not a business per se yet, but you're getting to that point of you've got to set goals. You've got to have those, and whether or not you outwardly tell everybody what those goals are, but I straight away you had a success. Like if you look at Sophielou's Sophielou's Instagram, or even the official Real Not Perfect Instagram page, which all of Sophie's handles will be in the description of this podcast, so you'll be able to go and see those and click on those and go and find her. But it was a really successful gig that you had at the weekend, the brunch one you did.
Yeah.
And I see straight off the bat, as soon as that one is finished, you're thinking about the year anniversary, and you're putting on the Halloween party on the 1st of November.
Yeah, it's kind of
like But that for me shows that desire, that willingness to actually.
Yeah. There's definitely the drive there, isn't there?
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah. I do have a lot of drive, and I think it is. I don't know. Sometimes it is like not wanting to fail, but then I think I don't know. Like I just love it. I just love.
What's fail in real, not perfect?
That's what thinking. That's what I was saying. It was like, what is a failure? But I just love it. Like Saturday. I mean, with the first one I did, July. Oh God, garden vibes. It's 430 people. I was looking around. So, wow, everyone's having the most incredible time.
I did it. No, what you should be saying is, I did this.
And like created this, and then Saturday the brunch. I was like, wow, we've done it again, and it's like, okay, and it's the feedback, it's the smiles on people's faces, it's
100%.
My mom and my dad in the same space, like, like anyone can be there, and everyone's just having a great time because everyone's feeding off each other's energies. And people actually say to me, these events are just so different. We don't know what it is, but they're just different, and that's it for me. So
tell me I'm so happy that it's going the way you wanted to, from the garden party to the gig at the Junction that you did at the weekend.
Yeah.
So give me a bit of a summary, an exclusive. What's happening at the Halloween party?
Halloween party. It's just going to be, well, obviously it's a big
same format,
fancy dress, like
okay, add that in.
Come out and so come as it hasn't got to be Halloween. It can be anything. Fancy dress, and then we'll have our photo booth and multiple DJs, giveaways. It's a first, but it'll be the first year, like the anniversary. So a year ago,
even though I said that you set it up in 2022,
the first event that I did under Real Not Perfect, and again, so I'll be honest, it was guest list only and no tickets. It was about 40 people there, and we had the greatest night. But a year on, we're doing 400, 300. Like, it's like, okay, so it marks a year since the first party, and it's just going to be a massive celebration of just, good vibes and just celebrating that. Yeah, it's been a year since we did this, and the first one was like 40 people, and it's just, it's going to be a big night.
So just give me a breakdown. So the Real Not Perfect, what musics are you covering within that? So you got multiple DJs come in. So what are you? What genres are you covering off? Because I know you are multi-talented, and your music speaks on so many different levels. Whether it's chilled, laid back, to R&B, and then you've got that drum and bass element that's been thrown in as well. So what are you looking at from DJs that are coming to perform at your shows?
I think that's another thing. Like, so that's one thing that I wanted to break that down as well. Like, you will hear a bit of everything. Like Saturday, we had 80s playing, but we just had a big, massive dancehall bashment set going on. But then 80s comes on, and it's like, people are like it's that shock element, I think, of like anything goes, and that's what it is for me. So we're very much R&B, dancehall, hip hop, like drum and bass, garage, but why can't we have a bit of a sing-song to S Club 7? Because we're too cool to do that. That's what I want to break down. Like, I'll just throw things in. People are like, what on earth is going on?
Love that.
Because it's like guilty pleasures, and that's almost like forcing people to just lay your hair down, relax. Like, not everything has to be cool. We know that you know it. So,
You're just playing the song that they didn't know they wanted to hear.
Of course,
You know what I mean?
Share, believe in the middle of a set, and people are like, so how did you get here? I'm like, because I like this music, so I'm going to play it. Like, that I'm breaking those, whereas we're not just here to be cool and like play the latest tunes that are going to make people like, I don't know, go mad. It's like, because this will make you go just as mad. Like, believe me, you just didn't know it.
So I can see in the next 6 months there's going to be a Real Not Perfect Guilty Pleasures set. That's what it's going to be. That's the name of it. That's going to be the April name. Guilty Pleasures. You're going to have everything.
Anything goes, and that's what I like, because especially when you've got such a diverse crowd, you've got a few like 25-year-olds, but then you've got like 50-year-olds in the same space. So we've got to try and cater to everyone here. Like at the end of the day, I love all types of music, and I think like especially doing private parties and definitely doing the silent discos, I have learned so much from doing them, because I do feel it's a certain crowd, and I've picked up what really works, what they don't really,
I'm the same. I'm the same with that.
I have learned so much. Like I love the silent discos. They're so different, but I have learned so much from them, and being able to take those to actual like private parties or events, because I know that song's going to hit, because I was like, oh, I didn't know that was so big, and I'm learning, I'm being educated. And sometimes it's just about taking a risk. When you drop Murder on the dance floor, but you're looking at the crowd and thinking, right, how are they going to respond to this? And actually they're like all screaming and singing along, oh, okay. You're like, and it's just breaking those barriers of like.
I absolutely love your whole energy. So
thank you.
Your drive, what you're trying to achieve, you're pushing the boundaries for the female within our industry, the black female within our industry. You're knocking on doors, you're pushing doors, you're kicking doors down, and I really do love the whole approach of you're covering all bases. You're not pigeonholing yourself into one particular area. You're covering, you've got bases covered, and I love that approach, and it's so refreshing, and I really hope it continues to grow and the success continues to build for you. I really do.
I hope it does too. Not just for me, but for all the young kids coming through, all the people that are like, what do we do? I want to do this, and this. It's like, well, you can give it all a go. Like, just take those risks and don't be afraid. Like, I know now I'm in a position where people are looking at me when I'm going into the schools, and they're like, oh, miss, we saw you on the weekend. We saw you do this. I'm like, good. I'm glad you saw it, because now you know that you can do that. If you want to do this, you know what I mean? So it's not.
And what's going to be great? You know what's going to be great, Soph? You know what's going to be great? The great part of this is that Real Not Perfect brand is going to live long for a long time. And you are going to have the kids that you're currently teaching and you're currently engaging, and you're going to be the one promoting them.
That's it. And that for me is going to, there
won't be a dry eye in the room. I mean, I genuinely believe that, because you have taken those people on that path. You've taken them on that journey, and you've opened those doors for them.
Yeah.
And, it speaks. It's massive. It massively is. So thanks for joining. Thanks for giving us a bit of an insight in relation to what you're about, what you're trying to do, what you're trying to push. Sophielou music.co.uk is her website. Everything is on there that you want to go and look at. Like I said earlier, the Real Not Perfect. So on Instagram, official Real Not Perfect is the Instagram handle. Sophie's Instagram handles, where everything's going to be in the description in relation to this podcast. Trust me, go out, look for her, follow her. She is going to be a massive success, massively. I'm telling you now, right? I can't wait to see it. You're such a breath of fresh air for our industry, massively.
I appreciate that.
And I see. I always say I see big things, but I really hope everything works for you, Soph. I really, really do.
I appreciate that. Even inviting me onto this to actually give me a space to talk about these things, it means a lot. It means a real lot.
Thanks,
Soph. It's been lovely having you on. It really has been lovely.
It's been absolutely great. So, thanks, Soph. I don't know what else to say. I'm buzzing to see what's going to happen next for you. I really am. I think you're hitting the market at the right time. Your whole perspective on it is just great. And I wish, me and Jon wish you all the best.
100%,
everybody at the Groove Junction, which is just me and Jon. We wish you absolutely best. Thanks for joining.
Thank you for having me.
No worries.
Pleasure. Thank you, Soph.
Cheers.
Well, Jon, my mind is blown after that chat. What an interesting woman.
I was just about to say, how interesting.
The journey.
Yeah, I mean, from there, which you can't see because it's a podcast, but from to there.
I say can't hear unless you are watching the podcast or watching the YouTube footage that's on there as well. So as we always say, firstly, before I get into where you can find that great interview, if you haven't already, it is on Spotify, on the podcast Spotify. You can watch the footage, see Soph, going into detail in relation to what we've just discussed, which was immense. And then you've also got YouTube, our YouTube channel, The Groove Junction. You can go and watch the episode there as well. And like with all of our podcasts, if you just want to listen to it whilst you're driving back from a gig at the weekend,
or funny story about it,
or as soon as the podcast drops on a Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock, go ahead and download it, search it, The Groove Junction. Go on, what's your funny story then?
So I get quite a lot of messages through the week for people that have listened to our podcast.
I don't.
Do you not?
No, none whatsoever. Anyway, you're loved. I'm not. Move on. Okay. So what story?
You got to watch this because this is the smallest violin.
Yeah, here we go.
So one of my friends, Scott Dewin, who's a wedding DJ. Love Scotty. Yeah, lovely guy. He finishes like midnight, 1 o'clock, and he drives home and this and that. And he tunes. He's downloaded podcasts and he's listening to them. So he rang me up yesterday. I was having a little chat with him yesterday. He absolutely loves the podcast. So thanks, Scott, for listening and everything and for the support. We appreciate that. But the funny thing is, he got so involved and so into the podcast that he was listening to.
Right. Oh no.
He didn't notice the amber light flashing on his dashboard to say that he needed fuel, and he ran out of fuel because he was too engrossed in the podcast.
Hold on a minute. Let's go back. So hold on. He's listening to the podcast. He got so engrossed in the podcast, he actually ran out of diesel, petrol.
Yeah.
Going home from a gig.
Coming home for a gig. So he ran out of diesel or whatever it is. Right? So he's like, well, I'll ring up the AA or whatever.
Yeah.
They wanted something stupid like £180 or whatever it was.
Call out fee and all that.
And he was like, I ain't doing that. So he phoned a taxi to come to the lay-by or wherever he was, broke it down.
Oh my God.
Luckily he had a jerry can in the back of his van. Got the taxi driver to take him to a petrol station to get some fuel, take him back to his van to put the fuel in. It started on his way and he finished listening to the podcast.
Oh, Scotty.
Okay. How cool is that?
I'd say it's cool. A little disclaimer to everyone. Whenever you are listening to the Groove Junction in the comfort of your vehicle, if you are driving, please make sure your tank is full because that hour-long podcast may consume a lot of diesel or petrol, depending on your vehicle, or even to the point if it's an electric vehicle. Thank you for saving the environment, but also make sure it's fully charged.
Yeah. So
great story.
Thanks. Yeah. And it's a true story as well. So,
true story.
I just made it up for content.
It wouldn't surprise me that.
No, mate, I am as honest as the day is long, and believe me, it's a long day.
Yeah, it's a very long day. But Scott, once again, I hope you enjoyed it. And thanks for listening, man. Appreciate it, regardless of your little woes this weekend gone. But I appreciate that. So, listen, it's another bumper packed week on the Groove Junction. I know a couple of weeks ago we had Brad on. We've had Sophie today, which has been really refreshing, actually, listening to Sophie and the direction of travel that she wants to go, and she's smashing it.
Yeah,
quite clearly, she's smashing it, and we wish her every success in what she does. Yeah, for me, this just keeps getting better and better, John.
100%. I mean, it's people say, oh, I don't know what to put into the podcast. What am I going to talk about? Well, as I said before, we don't have a script.
No.
We kind of know.
Quite clear, you can see we ain't got a script.
There's just nothing there, mate. You know what I mean? But it's so much fun doing it, and we've got a great. We're building a great following. We've got a great following already across all the different platforms.
You have, because they contact you saying, "Well done, really good podcast this week."
Yeah, you know.
Anyway, Jon, keep going.
No,
You're
look,
mate.
Fine. Let me pass you a tissue. You can dry your eyes. Yeah,
Thanks,
there you go.
Thanks. I'll fire back.
No, they do. I don't know why they call me
That's
and text
fine.
me.
This week my phone's going to be bombarded.
Mate, I'll tell you, let's get. Okay, anyone that's listening to this, what are we on now? Episode 7. Right?
Yes.
So by episode 8, right, I want everyone to text Matty.
No,
right?
don't.
It don't even have to be podcast related. Just ring, just text him, say hi, Matt. Hey, hope you're okay. You know, do you need another tissue?
No, I can see the gifts coming my way now.
Yeah. It could be a meme. Is it a meme or meme? A meme.
Not.
Well,
honestly, let's not go there right now.
You wait till you see the shorts. That's his line.
Yeah, you wait till I see them shorts. One for the shorts.
One for the shorts. That's it.
It's been an absolute pleasure as always, Jon.
Always.
Have a great week. Look forward to hearing your wonderful stories from this week's gigs that are coming ahead for you. Is the Selfie Pod out this weekend as well or not?
No, not this weekend.
Ooh,
no.
Sounds like a phone call for an upsell.
Oh, I don't want to keep like every episode we mention it, but Studio Ninja, it's now been added to the workflow.
Yeah.
Sort of sent me a little email saying, look, just in case you wanted to know, we've got this as a new app. There we go. So, yeah.
Final thing.
Go on.
I know we've had our mic muffs a couple of weeks now.
Love my muffs.
Stop rubbing it like that. Is mine a little bit dirty, or is it just me? I'm just looking at it going, is that fluff on that, or is that my screen? I don't know. Anyway, I don't know where I was going with that one.
You got a dirty muff? Oh, come on, Matty.
Now it's in the shop.
Yeah. No, it looks fine.
Stop stroking it, honestly. My eardrums, every time you do that, goes right for... Anyway.
Hear that, can you?
Yes, I can hear that, and so can everyone else.
Oh.
Absolutely.
Jon, they're sharing in the pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. Jon, it's been great. It's been great seeing you.
Okay, my friend.
I want to thank everybody for listening. Like I said on previous editions, our audience figures are going up, which is great to see on all platforms. We can't express the thanks enough, really. I know, big love.
How do they do that? Because they don't even look like a heart, does it?
It's your big fingers. But Jon keeps getting all the messages of saying how great it is, and he relays those back to me, which is great to hear. I'm not bitter at all, but I've not getting any messages from anybody. But no, thanks very much. We really appreciate it. Like we said, always, you can get our podcast on all podcast platforms. That's where you can find us, The Groove Junction. We are on Spotify, our video podcast. We are on YouTube, The Groove Junction, and we've got our website as well, thegroovejunction.com, where you can also listen to those podcasts that are embedded into that website. So there is no excuse in finding us. It is The Groove Junction.
And if you want to send Matty a private email, he has got his own private email on the website. All right. You just go on the website, www.thegroovejunction.com, look for me, message me. It's all there. All the details are there. All right.
I'm going to give you an update on how many I got next week.
I'll tell you, I hope it goes global for you.
Global. They call that, we're heading off to the stratosphere.
That's it, mate. I'm telling you, you're going to make a lot of friends with this pad.
And we'll see you all next week. Have a great week, everyone. Take care.
Yeah, ta-da.